You're listening to the Fierce Fatty Podcast, episode 183. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter-in-law she wasn't invited due to her weight? We're reading Reddit posts today. I'm your host, Vinny Wellsby. Let's do it. Hello, welcome to the show. Happy 2024. Happy New Year. Are you alive still? You are? Me too. So excited that you're here. And we've got a juicy, repeat after me, juicy show today. We've got a friend of the show and a friend of mine in real life, Summer Innanen. Summer has her own podcast, Eat the Rules, which she has like 50 billion episodes, and it's really good, and she has guests. So if you want to go and listen to Summer's podcast after listening to this episode, then you should do that, because I don't really have guests and Summer does. So I'm just so self-obsessed. I don't want to share the mic with anyone else. Because I know it all. That was sarcasm, by the way. And if you appreciate this fat content, then go to Ko-fi, K-O-F-I, / Fierce Fatty, or go to the show notes where there's going to be a link, and sign up to be a baby fat. $5 a month. You'll get the access to the incredible 37-page size diversity resource guide, which includes links to all the best social media accounts to follow, TED Talks to watch, books to read, podcasts ready to listen to, Facebook groups you can join, clothes, where to shop, science resources and other helpful info, all for just $5. Or you can do $10 or $20. You can get more stuff. You get more stuff if you do that. That would be amazing if you did that. You don't have to. I ain't the boss of you, but if you do like fat content, then that would be cool. That would be real cool. So let's go do some time traveling and go and visit Vinny and Summer in the past and talk about Am I the Arsehole? And what the bloody hell is I Am the Arsehole anyway? Let's do it. So hey, Summer.
Hi, Vinny.
Don't talk to me. God, I was just going to go on a monologue. You're not here to talk. You're here just to listen to me. No, you're allowed to talk. Go on then. You say hello or whatever you want to say.
That's all I was going to say. I was going to just say you need to share your potato recipe with everybody.
I went around Summer's house on Christmas Day and I made potatoes, which was mashed potato on the bottom, which had Irish cheddar and cream, salt and butter, pepper, whatever. And then on top was sliced like dauphinoise potatoes with garlic and parmesan, as you North Americans say, parmesan, as I would say, baked in the oven. So it made it crispy on the top and soft in the middle. Summer liked it. I liked it. Summer's husband liked it. Summer's baby liked it. Not baby, child. Everyone liked it. And I liked eating your meat and the other stuff you gave me.
My beef curtains.
Yeah. I loved your beef curtains. They were delicious.
My beef. It was beef. It was really
beef.
good. It was really, really good. No, it was I would highly recommend that recipe. You should share it in your stories with the link.
I'll share it in the podcast episode show notes. I'll share it with you too, so you can share it with your people.
And you know what's even better? It didn't give me diarrhea, and I'm like really sensitive to dairy, but that it didn't somehow. So
wow. It's the Irish cheese. Maybe the Irish cheese. Do you know what? Maybe it is the Irish cheese. It's better cheese.
It is. That's the only cheese I can eat is like the Kerrygold cheese that I get from Costco. Yeah.
Look at that. Anti-diarrhea potatoes. Love it. I'm going to market it like that.
Okay.
Don't shit your pants potatoes.
All right, let's get into this.
So, I was telling Summer about something called Am I the Arsehole? And Summer says, what is that? I've never heard of it. And so some of you might not have heard of it. Some of you may have heard of it. and are obsessed like I am. I was watching YouTube videos of people reading Am I the Arsehole story. So basically what it is, on Reddit, the only reason why I would go onto Reddit is to go onto Am I the Arsehole? It's a thread where people ask, was I the arsehole in this situation, or is the other person the arsehole? Or were both of us the arseholes, or were none of us the arseholes? And then the Reddit community will decide if you're the arsehole or not. And so there'll be lots of different posts from lots of different types of people. And when I'm reading people's responses, a lot of times they're from people on Reddit. And so a lot of times the responses, I'm like, I don't really trust that response because they are clearly a dickhead. Or maybe the people don't have the same views as Summer and I in regards to anti-fatness, anti-diet, all that type of stuff. And there's a lot of stuff on Am I the Arsehole about diet stuff and anti-fatness. And I thought, let's me and Summer have a chin wag, because I think that you lot, the listeners, are going to enjoy hearing our perspectives, because you're obsessed with us, obviously. Like I was saying to Summer before, making that joke. Obsessed with me. Anyway,
do you ever chime in on those Reddit threads? Like, you read them. Do you ever comment?
Fuck no.
Okay, no. You're just a voyeur.
I'm a voyeur. No way. I don't know. Sometimes, you know what? Because I love these things so much. I follow people reshare posts on Facebook and also on Instagram. Like one time I made a comment on Instagram and people like dogpiled and was like, you can't say that, like they were disagreeing with me, because I was like, oh, it's not nice to shame someone, even if they're being mean to you about their body,
Yeah.
And people were like, yes, it is. We should definitely shame someone who shames someone for their body. And I'm like, no.
Anyway, yeah, it's just not a safe space to ever comment on anything online. I agree. No, I was just curious. I was like, oh, maybe you have like this alternate life where you
maybe if I pretended
commenter.
I should pretend to be like a white man with like a profile picture, and then no one would be disagreeing with my comments. They were like, you're so wise. Yeah.
He knows. Yeah. He knows all.
Yes. So I've pulled out a selection of stories and we're going to have a chat about it. And before we do, trigger warning about the stories, because they're coming from people who have anti-fat, pro-diet views. So if you're not in that headspace today, then, skip on by. I'm not going to be sharing specific sizes or weights or things around food. I'll say, I won't say someone weighs X pounds. I'll say they're a small fat or they're not fat or whatever. Yeah. Anything you want to say about that?
Nope. That's good.
Are you ready for our first story?
I'm so ready.
If you're feeling comfortable, then we shall begin. Okay. By the way, all the links for these stories we'll have in the show notes. Okay. So first story. Am I the Arsehole? And by the way, you'll see Am I the Arsehole abbreviated to AITA. So if you see that, that's what that means. Am I the Arsehole for telling my daughter-in-law she wasn't invited due to her weight? So initial reaction just from the title there, Summer.
Yeah, you're the asshole.
Obviously. I was like, oh.
It gets worse, though. It gets so much worse.
It does get worse. Let's read it. Okay. So the story is, we have done plenty of things that are not physically taxing with her, but even the small stuff, she ends up on a bench half the day. We went to a small mall half of the day on the bench. It was window shopping. She is O-word. Her ankles are swollen from her weight. The connection between her weight and not walking far without a break is very obvious. I'll try to keep this short. I have 3 girls, and we still like to do girl trips for the day. My son got married to a girl named Beth. Now, before her first kids, she was average weight, quotations, whatever that means. And after it got a lot worse, her only kid is 8 years old at this point, and she hasn't lost the weight. It's bad enough that she needs constant breaks walking. If I could eye roll for my eyes to fall out of my head already.
Yeah, I know.
I used to like her, and now I don't due to how she acts. Everywhere we go with her, it's a constant complaining that she is tired. The last girl's trip to the mall was spent sitting on a bench half the day since she needed constant breaks. If you try to leave, she will go on about abandoning her. It's annoying. I invited the girls to go to a farm for a pumpkin patch and pick some apples. It has big orchards and a ton of walking. We went and it was a great time, and some pictures went on Facebook. I got a call from Beth asking why she wasn't invited. I lied, saying it was just a family trip, and she accused me of lying. I had enough and told her the truth. I told her that she wasn't invited due to her weight, that she forces us to stop all the time and it ruins the trips most days since we don't get to do half the stuff. She called me a jerk and hung up. I'm getting texts from my son saying to apologize, but the girls, presumably her children, are on my side and are sick of having trips ruined since we have to wait for her all the time. So,
Jesus,
is that person the asshole?
Yeah. And I actually think she's sparing the poor daughter-in-law by not being around her, because who would want to be around a person like that?
I know. What's for me, like, definitely the asshole. What do you think that the public said? Do you think that they said they're the asshole or not?
I mean, I know because I read it that they don't think that she's the asshole, which is really awful, because in any other circumstance, like if the person was like old or disabled, then this mother or mother-in-law would be the asshole, right? But because it's fatness, people are, anti-fatness is so normalized, and that people were on her side, on the mother-in-law's side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the first thing I thought. Like, imagine if it was like, my daughter-in-law uses a mobility aid and sometimes she needs a rest. What a dickhead. She's ruining our fun. And then people would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, hello. Yeah. But because the person is fat, I bet they're thinking, well, she could just become thin and not be such a, quote, burden on this poor woman that just wants to shop with her girls and not have it ruined by some greedy fat monster that wants to have a break.
Yeah, I mean, I think this woman, like, obviously, the mother-in-law obviously hates the daughter-in-law as a person as well. I think, because I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, and I also think she hates herself, because people who don't hate themselves don't treat other people like that. But I also think that she just doesn't like the daughter-in-law in addition. And maybe you can't separate those two things. Maybe the fatness is like all she sees, right? But I feel as though, and especially just because of the way that she reacted when the daughter called her about it, like that she was just like so, cruel about everything, that she doesn't want a relationship with her. Yeah. Which means she doesn't want a relationship with her grandson, which means she's like even more of an asshole.
Yeah. So what would you say to the people who are like, well, the mother-in-law is right. She is ruining the trip by having to, quote, sit down for half the day.
How is that ruining the trip? Just modify the trip. Like, just make accommodations for people. I don't understand. Like, so she needs to sit down. So sit down for a bit and then go do your thing. Separate for a bit. Like, I don't understand how that's ruining the trip.
Yeah.
What do you think?
But the mother-in-law said that the daughter-in-law says if you try to leave, she will go on about abandoning her. It's annoying.
What do you think about that?
I think that the mother-in-law is probably exaggerating to the extreme. Like, go on about abandoning her and has to sit down for half the day and the trip is ruined. Like, that seems like, is that really what happened? Or was it that she was like, oh, I'm just going to have a little break. I'm going to sit down. And then because the mother-in-law doesn't like her, she's like, oh, and is exasperated and is exaggerating. And even if she wasn't exaggerating, it just, to me, it sounds suspicious. It's like, I wonder if the daughter-in-law had a post I bet you it would be very different. Like my mother-in-law, like excludes me from trips, and every time I sit down, she has a go at me or whatever.
Yeah. Like I imagine this mother-in-law, and I'm making huge sweeping assumptions here, but probably has focused a lot of her life around trying to maintain her body, or is naturally thin, and therefore holds this like belief of superiority, and therefore makes like exaggerations like this to say to have people kind of, get her back in this situation.
So the verdict from everyone, like we mentioned, is they said that this woman is not the asshole. The top comment said, at the risk of being called fatphobic, good for you. You're not the asshole. Why should your trips revolve around her? Well, I don't think they are. Why should you be forced to plan outings that are within your daughter-in-law's step limit? Because that's a nice thing to do. Finally, you're free to only invite your actual daughters to things too. You aren't blocking her from any and all family gatherings. She just got blocked from this one, which I hope is the first of many trips you and your daughters have been putting off for her sake. Get out there and see the world. Like, that comment is trash.
Yeah. Like, it's terrible, right? Because again, if you put any other label on the person, like mobility aids, or like, it's my grandmother who can't walk very far.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, if you need accommodations for everything, for anything, you don't expect that you are able to go to everything, right? So if you, whatever accommodations that you need, you know that a lot of places are not able to meet those accommodations for whatever reason. And so I don't think the daughter-in-law is like, you can never do anything without me, and if you do, you're a terrible person. But it sounded like this was like a family outing that she was just, not invited to. And so it's like, say if you have to make a few accommodations to make sure that the daughter-in-law can come, is it really that big of a deal? No. Like,
not at
chill.
all. The other piece of this is the fact that the assumption that her ability is related to her size.
Yes.
Like, we don't know why she needs to take breaks. She could have fucking pain for some reason. You know what I mean? Like, it might have nothing. It might not have anything to do with her weight.
Yeah.
Is the other piece of it, or maybe she just needs to take breaks to not be around the mother-in-law. I mean, that would make sense to me.
Shut up. God. Yeah. And honestly, shopping is fucking tiring. I went to the mall on Boxing Day. I know what was wrong with me because I wanted to get the Lush sale. If anyone doesn't know, Lush has a sale on Boxing Day. I never knew about this. I got some fucking amazing Lush stuff for half price. Anyway, and I go to Bath and Body Works. But I was tired. I was sweating. I sat down. I had to go and get a water because, like, it's like a sport, And so if I was doing that all day, I'd be doing exactly what the daughter-in-law allegedly is doing. Just being a normal human, having a little bit of a rest,
Taking a break. Yeah.
Because I have a human body. And I'm sure people in smaller bodies would be doing the same.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
So our conclusion is, my conclusion is, mother-in-law is the asshole.
100%. Beth, call us. We got your back.
Yes! Oh my goodness. Imagine if Beth was listening to the show. How amazing. So that was our stamp. Asshole. Okay. Story 2. Am I the asshole for putting my 9-year-old on a diet and, quote, emotionally damaging her? So first reaction just from that, Summer, what do you reckon?
Yeah. Yes. Obviously.
OBV of you're the asshole. Okay, so the story. Ex, meaning ex-partner, 32 female. They say like their ages and stuff sometimes. They use the word female. I don't like it, but anyway. Ex, 32 female, so this person's ex, and I, 34 male, have a 9-year-old daughter. M is the code name we're going to call them. We broke up when M was 5 and I moved away. I would see M in breaks and speak on the phone, so I was involved as I could be. Last year, I moved back. I now have her alternate weeks. I had noticed M starting to put on weight. She's not O-word, but seeing her in person, I've noticed she has a belly which hangs over her waistband, and she wears clothes older than what she is, despite only being 9. So the kid's 9 now. I spoke to X and she got defensive, saying that M ate what she eats. X is skinny and healthy and has a sport she goes to twice a week. I asked her about portion sizes and other exercises. Twice a week for 90 minutes isn't that much. I was trying to stay friendly, but X shut me down. I know weight gets harder to lose the older you get, so I decided to keep a close eye and do what I could on her weeks with me. I did not put her on a crash diet, but I did start using portion control plates and packing lean lunches instead of letting her buy her food. Carrot sticks, yogurt, flavored steamed chicken breast, etc. M complained at first, but then seemed fine with this. I also took her to the gym with me 4 times a week. My gym has parents and child classes. So the kid is doing now 6 times a week exercise. The only thing I said to M about it is that we were working to set her up for a future being physically fit and mindful of what she eats. So last week, a kid is having a birthday party and the parents are taking a small group to the movies and after a sleepover. The parents asked me that everyone send their kid with their own snack and then the parents would buy popcorn on top to share. I'm trying to show my kid that snacks can be healthy, so I sent her with a bag of veggie sticks and hummus. She made a little fuss about not getting candy, but seemed fine. I dropped her off and X was going to pick her up. Next day, X texts. I head over and X isn't happy. M is upset and won't look at me. Apparently, when they were all sat waiting for the movie, kids started comparing snacks. M told the other kids that they were going to get fat and unhealthy because their parents gave them those snacks. She said that she had to eat the veggies so she could lose weight, and she wasn't allowed any popcorn. I never said this. Then at the house, after they ordered pizza for the kids, M refused to eat, saying she was going to get fat. The parents called X, and she came and got her. M was crying, saying that she was scared if she ate anything bad, she'd put on weight and everyone would hate her. She told X about our diet and gym. I hadn't because it was my weeks and why should I divulge all of our plans? X ranted, saying M always came home tired and refusing to eat. She blames me for giving M a complex when she was healthy and active. I said if she was healthy, she wouldn't have a belly and be bigger than other girls. I said that at least I cared about what the girl puts in her mouth, and she said M was happier before I moved back. Now, X is telling me that she won't send her back to me if I don't stop, quote, emotionally damaging her. So, am I the asshole?
Yes, this is a really heartbreaking story.
I know. That poor baby. That poor 9-year-old. Yeah. Why do you think he's an asshole? Apart from obvious reasons.
Yeah, because he's giving her an eating disorder.
Fun! Present from daddy.
Yeah, I mean, I think you probably see this too, but like, I would say, the vast majority of the clients that come to work with me had experiences like this. Mm-hmm. And, 40 years later, they're still struggling with the same thing because of an incident that happened like this when they were in these younger years where kids are supposed to gain weight. Mm-hmm. Little girls are supposed to gain weight. And even if it was more than maybe what they're supposed to gain with puberty, like there's no reason that anyone should ever treat their kid like this.
Yeah, it's so true. It's like the origin story for like villains, right? Is something terrible happened to them or heroes. And I feel like with most people and especially with most fat people, their origin story is parents shamed them. And actually I was at FatCon, which is a conference for fat people in Seattle this weekend. And I was on a panel and I said, Hands up if you have a similar story to mine. And I was saying how my parent fat shamed me as a kid, and everyone's hand went up apart from one person. I'm sure that one person didn't hear me or something,
Right.
or maybe not. But it's a universal experience of many people who end up having eating disorders or who have a fat body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I remember being that age, and I remember like this girl in my class really being bullied for her body, and my brother used to really bully me for my body, and I remember like how much of an impact that had, and really implanted this like hatred towards and shame of my own body, and fear around it being scrutinized. And so I just think that like it's really, really sad because the seed has already been planted for this poor girl.
Yeah. And what do you think about the mum saying she's not going to let the kid around unless he stops, what did he say, emotionally damaging her?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. I'm like, fuck yeah for that mum. Thank God that kid has the mum.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually happy to see the comments on this one in support of the mom, and telling the guy that he was an asshole. Like the majority of comments were like, you're giving her an eating disorder.
Yeah So the verdict on that one was asshole, sorry. And the top comment was, man, your daughter is 9. She is a little chubby for what you've said, and she was crying because she was scared if she ate anything. For Christ's sake, you're the asshole. And if you fuck your daughter and you are fucking your daughter's life up, what the actual hell do you think that you're doing? Someone then edit, some of you guys got to be kidding. There's no info about the child being unhealthy. There is no info about medical reasons to get her to lose weight. There is only the original poster disliking the way the daughter looks because she has a, quote, belly. Making a 9-year-old cry in fear of eating is not okay and will never be okay. And saying, oh, you're just thinking about what's best for her is bullshit. This is abusive. This is how body complexes are born.
Yeah, and the other part that's terrible is now this little girl is spewing anti-fatness to her friends too.
Yes. And that could be the thing that starts their journey with an eating disorder, disordered eating, body image stuff. Would be like, oh, that one time that M came and we had popcorn and I felt really ashamed.
Yeah. Well, everyone needs to read the book Fat Talk if you're a parent, including this guy by Virginia Sole-Smith.
Yeah,
she talks a lot about this, and she talks a lot about puberty and how kids are going through puberty at earlier ages, and how it's normal for a girl to gain 40 to 50 pounds during puberty. And so that's often the time when parents start to freak out, is when they see that rapid body change. And so people need to understand that that's like normal and healthy and part of proper development. And not something to be feared. And even if the kid was unhealthy or was gaining more weight, the behavior is still just as much coming from an asshole.
Yeah.
If I'm saying that right.
You know what I noticed in the comments was people saying, but she's not actually unhealthy, or a pediatrician hasn't told you to put her on a diet, or, and I feel like if he had said in the question, she's definitely fat, like she's fat, I think those comments would be different.
I think you're right.
Because he said, oh, she's got a little belly. And so people are like, well, that's okay because she's not fat. But if he was like, oh, she's like, I don't know, whatever way you could describe it, then people would be like, you're probably doing the right thing, because the child's going to grow up and end up being, I don't know, fat.
Yep. I think you're probably right, especially given the people who were commenting on the previous story and how anti-fat they were. So 100%.
Yeah. There's a cognitive dissonance, isn't there, where it's like people are really like, this is unacceptable. But when it comes to someone who is an adult or who is bigger, then it's all of a sudden, this is definitely acceptable. I'm like, what? I don't understand. But it's kind of nice. I want to protect kids, but let's do it for adults too.
Yeah, exactly. And it comes back to the same point. It's like if the person was disabled, or if they were, like of a particular age, like they would be considered, you would be considered an asshole for treating them that way. But
yeah,
because they're fat, that people are like, oh yeah, no, you can tell them that.
Yeah.
You have work to do.
So our verdict, my verdict is double asshole. Not that's even a thing. What's your verdict?
Yeah, this guy is a real asshole. Like, it makes me really upset, actually, because I feel so bad for this kid. Just because that damage cannot be undone. Like, that has now, put her on that trajectory, and hopefully her mom can help her get off of it. But I don't know. Once you start on that and then reinforce it through behaviors, it's like, it's a slippery slope. The kid's so young.
Yeah. And this post was actually from 4 years ago. And I a lot of times people come back and they'll tell us an update, but this guy hasn't told us an update. So probably in 20 years' time, they'll be talking to a therapist being like, my dad fucked me up. And, this is what happened. And as well, because, even though the dad's an asshole, that kid probably loves their dad. And so those words are going to hold such a big weight on that kid's psyche and mind.
Oh yeah, it's going to tie into how they perceive themselves as being lovable or not, and worthy or not, and it's all like it's a whole big piece of baggage he's just given her. Yeah,
great parenting, Papa. Just no.
Eat shit and die.
Eat shit and die. Oh my goodness. Okay, so next story. Am I the asshole for embarrassing my friend's O-word boyfriend by making him sit on a chair different from everyone else's at dinner? So what's your initial reaction?
I feel like when I read the headline, I was like, okay, I need to hear the context of the situation, because on one hand, it's like, no, but what's the context?
Yeah, me too. Apart from, there was 2 red flags for me. One, using the O word, and also making him sit on a chair. And I was like,
yes, yeah, that's so true.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. So here it goes. This happened a few weeks ago. I invited my friends to dinner at my house to celebrate moving into my new house. And my friend Katie asked if she could bring her new boyfriend, Dale, so our friend group can finally meet him in person. I said yes. There are 2 things I have to point out. First, my dining table and chairs are wooden furniture that have been in our family for close to 100 years and have a lot of sentimental value to my family. They used to be at my sister's house, but she asked me if I can take them since her kids tend to jump on them during mealtime, and she was scared the furniture might get damaged. I don't have kids, and I just got a bigger house, so I have space. Thus, I happily took them. Second, Dale is morbidly O-word. Just fucking hate that phrase. Morbidly O-word.
Yeah.
And then she says how big he is, and with the measurements, he wouldn't be classed as morbidly O-word. He would be classed as a medium large fat. So just some context there. Given that my dining chairs are wooden and old, I didn't want to risk them not being able to hold Dale's weight. So I prepared a different, sturdier chair for him to sit on. I've had O-word people sit on my dining chairs before, but none as O-word as Dale. When Katie saw that I was asking Dale to sit in a chair different from everyone else's, she got livid and told me that I was embarrassing Dale. I was shocked that she would get upset like that in front of everyone, so I stammered an explanation about how my chairs are old and I wasn't sure if they would hold. Katie said that I was being fatphobic and said that she couldn't be friends with a person like me. They left immediately while the rest of my friends stayed long enough just to finish dinner, and then we called it a night early. Am I the asshole?
Like, yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yes and no. It sounds like you're gone.
No, you go first.
It sounds like, again, I think we've probably got bits of information missing. What was she saying to Dale when she made him sit on the chair? Obviously, this person has got tons of anti-fat attitudes, because the way that she's talking about Dale, like, he's huge. I've never had anyone as fat as Dale in my house. And oh my God, he's just going to, destroy the place. And like that attitude is really unkind. But she did think about not Dale's comfort, the fact that she didn't want her furniture broken, and found him an alternative seat. So that was like good that she was trying to think of something. But then Katie, the girlfriend, got livid and told me that I was embarrassing Dale. That's probably going to embarrass Dale. Like, that I feel like that probably made it into a situation. So the fact that she left and said, I don't want to be friends with you because you're fat phobic, makes me think we're missing some information, because just offering a chair is not fat phobic.
Yeah, I also think like what is standing out to me now, having heard you read this to me again, is the fact that is the poster, I don't know the gender of the poster, not that it matters, but whoever like posted this, that they're more concerned about the chairs than like having like comfortable seating for everybody. You know what I mean? Like if it was written in the context of like, you know what, like Dale's coming over and he's bigger, and I know that the seating I have isn't going to support, so I wanted to bring in a chair that would be more comfortable and supportive. Like that to me would read a lot differently, but it's really coming from an angle of like, these chairs have been in my family for 100 years and I don't want to break them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's just, it's in like the framing of it still comes from like an anti-fat place, Mm-hmm. But I do think it's good to think about seating and like people's comfort, and perhaps that could have been a conversation that would have been had like before they got there. Would you how would you think that that's the best? What do you think is the best way to approach that?
If I was the OP stands for original poster. If I was the OP, I might have quietly brought Dale, when no one else was like listening, and just be like, oh, Dale, by the way, I've got this rickety ass furniture, and so I found a chair that is, I think, might work for you. Let me know what you think. Is that okay with you? Or I might say to everyone, oh, hey, everyone, these chairs are like 100 years old. And so I found some other chairs here if you don't feel comfortable in these rickety ass chairs, and just made it for everyone to choose if they want to risk breaking 100-year-old chairs. Because I think most people were like, well, I don't want to sit on your fucking antique chairs. I don't want to break them because you clearly love them more than you love me as a friend. So I'll just sit on the floor or whatever, So there's ways that you can do that with more like kindness. And like thinking about the way that you ask me about chairs, like you just say when we sit down, is that chair okay? And like, it's not a big deal. But imagine if you said to me, say we're in a restaurant and we've got a new friend come in, and you said, is that chair okay? And then the other friend was like, oh my God, you're embarrassing Vinny by asking them, is the chair okay? You're fat phobic for asking Vinny, is the chair okay? And we'd both be like, you're the one making the scene.
Well, exactly, right? Like if we treat bodies as something to be ashamed of, then we're just perpetuating anti-fatness. But it like depends, right? Because it's like Dale obviously knows he's fat, like you know what I mean? But he might not be like fat positive, right? So it might be one of those conversations that you want to have like more discreetly, because you don't know how he feels about it. Whereas with you, like, I know you're comfortable with like your fatness. So I don't, it's like for me to be like, hey, are you okay with that chair? Is a conversation you'd have openly. We would have. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know, this person just sounds like a little bit of a dick. So, the fact that the friend said, I don't want to be friends with you because you're fat phobic. I mean, she is fat phobic. I'm guessing it's a she. Who knows? The OP is fat phobic, and I bet you their own anti-fat bias has been slipping out in other ways, and this was probably the final straw for Katie, and she's protecting Dale. But maybe she did it in the wrong way.
And I think the way that she's framing it up is like, oh, I didn't want him to sit on the chair and break it, but really, I think there's something else going on there. So, yeah, it's interesting because I read it and think that the poster, the original, the OP is a man.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know why. Isn't that weird how my brain goes to, must be a man?
That's it.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's funny. And there was something else I was going to say about this, but it's escaped from my head. So I can't remember, but I'm sure it will come back. So the verdict, people said, what do we think, Summer, that people said? Because it's an adult that they're talking about who's fat.
I feel like they're going to say they're not an asshole.
Yes, that's what people said. Not an asshole. The top comment says, not the asshole. Ironically enough, his girlfriend definitely made it worse by making a big stink of it. It's not like it's a mystery to anyone that Dale is morbidly O-word. There's nothing fat phobic about that. Someone else said, my partner is fat, and he and I work as a team to always ensure that he has a sturdy chair. He'd be so embarrassed if he sat in a chair and it broke under him. Literally his worst nightmare. Not the asshole. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that is it. Like, it literally, those, like, I remember a bench breaking underneath me. And it's such a core memory because the bench broke. It was rotten wood. And everyone was just there, I'm on the floor laughing at me. And like, if that happened to me now, I'd be fucking laughing. But at the time, it was like so shameful and traumatizing, and being like, that was kind of like the final straw of right, that's it. I need to get thin because I'm breaking furniture over here. But the thing is, a lot of furniture isn't made for human bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand Katie wanting to protect Dale.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it would have been awkward if he didn't have another chair to sit on as well. So it was kind of like a bad situation overall.
And, here's the thing I was going to say is, if you are having someone over to your house, and so she said Dale can come. It wasn't a surprise that Dale was there, and she already knew that Dale had a bigger body. Imagine inviting someone over to your house who you like, come over for dinner, and you know that they're a vegan, and then you make dinner and you're like, I've got beef tips like you made, or beef whatever they were called, and nothing else. You'd be the dickhead because you invited that person, and you might say, I hate vegans, like fuck them, not agree with them, but then you didn't provide any food, any accommodation for that person. Like one time, my dad was a dickhead. My sister had a boyfriend and he was vegetarian. And so he was around for dinner. I don't know where this was. I think this is Christmas dinner. And my dad just pulled out a jar of sauerkraut and slammed it on the table and said, that's your dinner, to my sister's then boyfriend, to say, like, being really rude and being like, I've thought of you and you can just eat some cabbage or whatever sauerkraut is. I think it's cabbage. Like, is that type of thing of, hello, it's not like this, if you're going to invite someone, at least think a little bit about accommodating them. But she did because she got a chair. So
she did, but I think she was more concerned about the chairs.
Yeah.
Like I said.
If you've got such a big house, you should put the chairs in some other room and get some proper furniture, not some fucking shitty 100-year-old rickety ass things.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So my final verdict is asshole-ish.
Like
asshole-ish.
Like soft launch asshole?
Yeah. Asshole with an asterisk of like, but it's complicated.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That's the thing. It's like most people, I always think, most people in life are not trying to be assholes. They're trying to be okay. I don't know. So, okay. You ready for the last one?
Yeah.
Could be the last one. We could do more if you want, whatever you want. Okay,
No,
so
this will be the last one.
Okay, so would I be the asshole for imposing a diet on my wife if she wants to travel with me? Okay, so initial reaction?
Yeah. Oh my God. This poor woman. Yes.
Okay, the story is friends have invited me to Japan to teach ESL, English Second Language, and I'm going to apply through the proper channels this upcoming autumn. I meet and in fact exceed the qualifications, so I'm not worried about that. But I know Japan has a specific culture that looks down upon O-word people. I've already started to lose weight, and this person's lost some weight. They mention how much in preparation because I want to be accepted within what their society desires. My wife can come with me. She can apply for a specific visa to live with their spouse while they work. I want her to come with me. She wants to come with me, but I want her to lose weight with me. And I'm not sure if I'd be the asshole for imposing a diet if she's to come with me. To give an idea, and that he talks about his weight. So he's a small fat person, not really. No, I don't think he's fat. And she would be a small fat, maybe medium fat person. If I want to tell her if she can get to, and then he mentions a weight, which is a lot lower. If she gets to this weight by Christmas, I'll let her go with me. I have some rare control of the situation because I need to sign off on paperwork to allow her to declare me as a spouse in the application. So, would I be the asshole? What do you think?
What the fuck? Yes.
This guy, I swear, the fact he's got this the control thing at the end. I have this rare control where I can lord over my wife that she can come and be with me, her husband, unless she decides to become a thin person.
Like, what is wrong with people? I want to say I'm shocked, but I know I'm not because I know this happens. But like, why are you even married?
Yeah. And actually, one of the top comments says, let's read it. Am I the only one that gets a vibe that he actually doesn't want her to come because he wants to see if he can pick himself up a hot new wife?
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that he's like, I want to adhere with Japan's society desires. It's like, why? Why? Because you want to pick up people?
Yeah.
Like, who are you going to entice with your body?
I think he doesn't. I think this makes him even more of an asshole. But I think he doesn't want to be made to feel ashamed for having a bigger wife.
Oh yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that.
Mm-hmm. It's his own ego. Like, he doesn't want to have to wrestle with that. So he's like, if I can have a socially acceptable size wife, then
Oh, and that is the deep dark fear of so many people that their spouse is secretly kind of ashamed of them or doesn't want to be with them. And I know that was my experience. I've shared on the show before that for those who listening to Summer Show is that my last long-term boyfriend, we split up 6 years ago. We were together for 6 years, and he confessed to me that he was less attracted to me because I had put on a nominal amount of weight. And it was like my deepest, darkest fears were coming true. And at that moment, I vowed to him that I would become good and get on a diet and become smaller again. I was always fat when we were dating, and I put on hardly any weight, so fuck this guy. But now I'm out of it, and I'm like, wow, he was really struggling with anti-fatness and his own self-esteem, and when we split up, I said to him, what was that all about? And I was kind of like getting curious, asking questions. And basically what he said was that when we go to work functions, I want people to be jealous of me that I have this kind of trophy partner. I want this like unreal, not human version of a person in order to make me feel better about my self-esteem. And I was just like, yeah, thanks for that. Thanks. I understand your motivations.
It's really common, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there that will love you unconditionally. And then there's a lot of people out there that only want a thinner person.
Yeah. And I've done whole podcast episodes on this. And so if this is like, if you're feeling really triggered by this and you're like, oh my God, what is my spouse like this guy and thinking that I should be thinner? Then I'll link to some Instagram post or something in the show note to give us as a resource. But a lot of times, if you do struggle with self-esteem, your partner says, I'm attracted to you. We just have to believe that they do, because a lot of the times they are, because fat people are fucking gorgeous, sexy, wonderful humans. And a lot of people are attracted to us.
Well, and physical attraction is influenced by our environment, right? Like we're conditioned to find certain bodies physically attractive because of the way that they've been presented to us. And that's something that we can change. Like we can change our perception of bodies and what we find attractive. And so if someone is struggling with that, like if they're in a relationship and their partner's body has changed and they're struggling with attraction, that's something that can be changed. That's not set in stone, but the person has to be willing to face their anti-fatness in order to make that change. And so, assuming that there's still like that emotional connection there between the two people.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, a lot of times if we do hear like, I'm not attracted to you because of your fatness, we hear that's a me problem and therefore I need to change, versus really that's a problem for them to tackle, that they're having this bias dictate their level of love or care or attraction to the person that they are in a relationship with. So for my ex, that was a him problem. Like, you sort your shit out. And, he ended up going and dating another fat person after me. So clearly he fucking likes the fatties.
Yeah. I don't know if I knew that.
Deal with it. You like fatties, so deal with it. You got some problems going on. Yeah, just own it.
Yeah.
Come on. We're sexy as fuck. Deal with it. Oh.
Yeah, this woman, like, they were better off not together, in my opinion, because if he like is thinking this is a good idea, like to the extent that he went and posted it on a message board, like,
well, this person did delete the post, but I managed to find the original text. So I think that person was like, oh, I fucked up. Because the verdict, well, actually, no, we don't know the verdict, but because he deleted the post, but we could still see the comments. The comments were that he's an asshole.
Okay. Well, that's positive.
Yeah, I know.
That's one good one. It's so weird how sometimes people are so, like, I'm almost surprised given how anti-fat everybody was on the other posts. So,
well, let me double check. I'm doubting myself now. Maybe the other comments were like, good
maybe it's because their perception is like, I feel like it was almost like, because in the other situation, like with the daughter-in-law people, it was like concern for her well-being and health.
Yeah.
Whereas this was like strictly about like attraction or achieving a certain size. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, someone said, watch her drop X pounds instantly, the amount of pounds that he weighs.
Yeah.
So she's going to drop him and go off to Japan or whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone is saying pretty much you're the asshole. And then some people are saying there's fat people in Japan, and then someone says there definitely is a culture of fat phobia that's more overt in Japan. And that's absolutely true. I know one of my someone I used to know who lived in Japan. They were from America, and she wasn't fat. She was maybe what people would say mid-size, so not thin, but she wasn't fat, and she couldn't find clothes anywhere, and people and she had to import them basically from the US.
I've heard that exact same thing. Yeah. And people make overt comments, like they'll just comment on your body. Like, it's just a different culture.
So there's those other things as well to consider, of like maybe he was just worried about what the people would say about his wife, and he was worried that she would be sad. I don't think that's okay.
I think he's more worried about his own perception.
Exactly. I mean, I'm trying to be generous in spirit towards this guy.
I'm not even giving him any. I'm not giving him any leeway there. I feel like it was entirely about what are people going to think of me if I have a bigger wife.
Yeah. Well, hopefully his wife has dropped X amount of pounds, which is his body weight from her life, because he sounds like a ding dong.
Yeah, and hopefully he got food poisoning on the plane or something.
I hope that too. Did you hear about the person who shit on a plane, and then the plane had to land because the shit was so bad?
Was that my husband? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. It was Mike. No, it was like they had explosive diarrhea or something, and it was rolling down the aisles of the plane.
Oh God, flying is just so awful.
I know. Wow. I feel like that's the type of thing that would happen to me.
We should have put a trigger warning before you said that.
What about the shit stuff?
Yeah, in case anyone was eating or something.
Oh. Well, they won't be. They're not eating now. If they were eating,
apologies.
They're like, thanks, Winnie. I think people who listen to my podcast are used to me talking about shit, so you'll have to warn your people. By the way, we have Vinny on. They talk about shit and piss and disgusting. They're disgusting human.
Come for the conversations around fat liberation. Stay for the conversations around shit.
Yeah.
What's that phrase? Is that right? Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. You know what? That's so funny that so funny you mentioned that, because when I was on the panel, we were talking about like stupid ways that we were trying to get thin, and I was just like, "Oh, has anyone shit themselves?" And then the panel host was like, "You asked the audience 4 times, has anyone shit themselves?" And eventually, someone was like, "Yeah, I shit myself," and we were like all laughing, and I was like, "Wow, I'm really interested in shit. Like, this is like, I should put that on a hobby on my Tinder profile, like." Talking about
maybe
shit.
That's why we're friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you love shit. You're a well-known shit lover, aren't you,
I'm
Summer?
shit positive.
Yeah. Oh, it's so shit positive. I love it. You should put that on your Instagram bio.
Oh, I'd probably get a lot more followers than I have.
Yeah, because people are like, what is this new movement? And you're like, I just shit everywhere. Just fucking shit on the street. I don't care. That would be me.
Just own it.
Just own the shit. Yes. Well, it's been fun to talk about the Am I the Arsehole and both be on each other's shows.
Yeah, it was great. And I hope that people know that, I don't know what is the psyche behind someone who thinks I'm going to ask people if I'm an asshole. Like, I would just never. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would almost want to sit down with someone and be like, why did you post that on there? Like, why do you want random people on the internet to give you an opinion? Like, that is so.
Because they want they want unbiased. So people in their life will be, like if I came to you and was like, I did this, and actually, no, you probably would say, no, you were the arsehole if I did do something arseholish, but probably you would be more supportive of me if I did do something dickish. But then if I put something on the internet saying what do strangers think, they don't know anything about me in the first place, right?
Yeah.
But me personally,
why would you want that feedback though? Like,
yeah, because then you'd be like, oh God, I'm a terrible person.
Yeah.
No, because these people think they're in the right. They kind of know that they're in the right, and they want other people to say, because a lot of the time they get you're not the asshole, apart from the people who were oblivious, like these assholes we spoke about today, and they get they delete their post. Because they're like, oh,
I gotta go explore. I need to go and explore this thread further. I had never even heard of it. So
yeah, no, it's a good one.
Hours of entertainment. Make me feel better about myself.
Yeah, exactly right. Low on self-esteem. Just go on. Am I the arsehole? Find all the arseholes and be like, wow, I'm not that much of a dickhead.
Yeah.
Moderately better than that person. Yeah.
That's a wrap.
Okay. Bye.
Perfect.